Hello, I'm Robert Lunte from the Vocalist Studio, and today we're going to do something kind of fun. We're going to jump in my car and we're going to go out to Alki Beach and we're going to take a look at the studio where the late Maestro David Peter Kyle used to train his students. Now, Maestro Kyle, as he insisted on being called, was a famous voice coach here in Seattle, Washington for 30 years. He is not the only coach that I've worked with that helped develop my skills as a coach and the TVS method, but he is probably the biggest influence on the work that I do with my students. And Maestro Kyle is also the same coach that taught Layne Staley from Alice in Chains, Chris Cornell from Audio Slave, Soundgarden, Ann Wilson from Heart, Ronnie Monroe from Metal Church, some guys from Dawkins, and other singers, hundreds of singers that are fantastic that you may not have even heard of. We all worked with Maestro Kyle. And I'm going to preface this by saying that in my program, the vocal training program, the 4 Pillars of Singing, there are a lot of workouts and scales and influence in the TVS method that I've brought over from Maestro Kyle's workouts. In some sense, I'm the heir apparent. People consider me to be the kind of the guy to go to if you want to train some of the Maestro Kyle workouts and techniques. Now, the workouts and techniques inside the 4 Pillars of Singing are not only Maestro Kyle workouts, only some of it. But I just thought it would be important to point that out, and a lot of fun. In the back of the book of the 4 Pillars of Singing, you can read a bio on Maestro Kyle. It's kind of a dedication to him. But today we're going to have a little bit more fun. We're going to jump in the car and we're going to go out to Alki Beach here in Seattle, Washington, and I'll show you the actual house. In fact, the actual window where me and Layne Staley and Chris Cornell, Ann Wilson, Ronnie Monroe, and many others actually looked out of when we were training in his studio. Should be pretty cool. It's a little piece of history, and I thought that some of you might be interested in taking a look at that. So let's go ahead and check out this this iconic training studio out on Alki Beach in Seattle, where myself and other famous singers trained and learned to develop our vocal skills. Let's go check it out. Let's go. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Me and my trusty right-hand man, Jonathan, are heading out to the beautiful neighborhood of West Seattle. Oh, get that. That is the Crocodile, folks. See that green club on the corner? That's a Crocodile. That's one of the most famous live clubs in Seattle, Washington. All the bands played there. If you ever come to visit for a training intensive with me here in Seattle, we'll be sure to check out some live music there.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a picture of me driving.
What was the last band you saw over there?
Ah, it's a really great question. I wish I could remember the name, but I can't. But it was a group that had 2 keyboards, female singer, gorgeous music. All I can remember is I bought their CD. It was great.
Really?
It was great. Yeah, yeah.
Are they local?
Yeah, yep. And I was there with a student that came in from Tokyo, Japan.
So this is proof. Seattle is not always rainy. A little gray, but not rainy.
You're right. Well, that's why we're doing this today and not yesterday. Okay? It was raining yesterday. Okay.
Maestro Kyle, you said?
Maestro David Peter Kyle, or otherwise known as the Maestro. The Maestro.
How did you find him?
That's a good story. I was a kid, and must have been about 15 years old, and I was reading an article about Queensryche from a magazine that I don't believe is in print anymore. It was called Hit Parader. It was kind of a rock and roll magazine. back in the day, and they were talking about the voice coach for Geoff Tate from Queensryche, which I was a big fan at the time. Again, I was 15 years old. And they happened to mention in this article, Maestro David Kyle was his voice coach in Seattle, Washington. And I got on the phone and called information and ended up getting Maestro Kyle's phone number, and I'll never forget. I called, he picked up the phone and said, "Hello," as he always did. It was a very authoritative maestro sort of voice. "Hello," and I was just a scared 15-year-old. "Is this Maestro Kyle that taught Geoff Tate?" And he goes, "Yes, it is." And well, and then I started coming to Seattle and started training. I worked with him for 12 years. Now, elements that are in the 4 Pillars of Singing in the TVS training method program that are influenced or inspired by Maestro Kyle are training with amplification. We train with amplification microphones. That's something that Maestro Kyle did, which was unique at the time, and I think is still unique today to some extent. We don't always train with microphones, but we do that quite often, working with the tools of our trade. The warm-ups, the buzzing on nasal consonants, which is proven to be a very effective warm-up and great vocal health. It's one of the first things that students learn when they come on board with the 4 Pillars of Singing. We did the same workouts with Maestro Kyle. It's the same skills. There are currently 32 different vocal workouts in the 4 Pillars of Singing. And of the 32, I believe 12 of those workouts are Maestro Kyle workouts. Yeah. Also, the idea of bridging and connecting, that is to say, putting an importance or making the ability to bridge from the chest voice through the vocal break into the head voice and build one seamless voice. What is it's a priority. It's a mission statement. It's a primary objective, so to speak, in my studio and with my program to help students expand their range. But it was also very important for Maestro Kyle as well. That is to say, when we used to train with Maestro Kyle, the workouts and the discussions are all kind of oriented around expanding your range and getting through your vocal break and singing in the head voice. And that continues to be a value or one of the key principles to training the TVS method, working with me in the program, the 4 Pillars of Singing.
When were you able to connect from the beginning, or how long did it take you to?
No, I wasn't. No. It depends on the individual, how long it takes to build the motor skills, the coordination to bridge and connect for one seamless voice. But generally, it's a general statement. For most people, 4 to 12 weeks. 4 to 12 weeks to be able to do it smoothly, consistently. And that alone, any other skill sets aside, just that alone is a huge game changer in terms of what you can do with your singing voice and what singers need and want, what they're asking for. As soon as you can eliminate the vocal break in the middle and be able to sing in the head voice in a sound color that's convincing and chest-like in moto voice without it being falsetto, that's like 80% of the game, which is why Maestro Kyle and myself focus on that. Seattle. Again, anybody who comes to Seattle to visit, to train with me in a training intensive, they tend to make a vacation out of it as well, because Seattle's a fun place to be. It's for a vacation, to look around, and lots of great music and great food, and it's beautiful environment here. So it's a lot of fun to come visit, in addition to taking training with me.
What's your favorite food from Seattle?
My favorite what?
Food.
My favorite food?
Yeah, you just mentioned food. Great food.
Well, I'm a growing cowboy. So I mean, my favorite food is typically food that's laid upon my table. Laid upon my table before mine eyes. Before mine eyes.
That's a great answer.
You know?
Mama should be proud, right?
What's that?
Your mom should be proud, right? Or would be proud?
My mom is proud.
Right.
Most of the time. I can assure you, my mom has had some not so proud moments. But we won't go there, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Let's not go there, okay? I went full-time around 2002, and then I wrote The Four Pillars of Singing version 1, and after that it kind of took off, and it's been a full-time endeavor since then. So I've been teaching full-time for about 15 years. Yeah. I might want to pan right and show people this beautiful view, Jonathan. There's the city.
Aside from music and singing, what do you like to do for fun?
I like to go out and eat. I like to see live shows. I'm also a big astronomy, cosmology, quantum physics, exoplanetology, exobiology geek.
Wow.
So I attend different meetups and groups that like to talk about space science, I suppose.
Do you believe in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. When you consider that there are approximately 300 billion stars in the Milky Way galaxy alone, and that there are another 400 to 500 known billion galaxies in the known universe, cosmos, and the ingredients for life, so to speak, are readily abundant in the cosmos. Water, carbon, heat, other elements. The odds that there are other life forms in the cosmos, and this has absolutely nothing to do with singing and vocal technique, but I'm just saying.
It's about you.
Well, I guess we're talking about you and me right now, aren't we? Talking about everybody. The odds that there's life elsewhere in the universe is just, with those kinds of numbers, it's pretty much a guarantee. So hopefully we're not boring people at the moment.
That's okay. You know, we can edit a lot of it.
You can edit out all the geeky stuff and just keep in the cool stuff.
I'm sure there's a good piece of info there.
I did add a handful of questions. In the 4 Pillars of Singing, in the coursework system, there's quizzes that people can take, as well as training can take a quiz and test your knowledge of the lessons. And I did throw in, just for fun, a handful of questions about astronomy and cosmology and things like that, just to kind of break up the monotony of all the vocal technique chat that's going on. All right, so we're here. This is Alki Beach, popular place for hanging out and playing volleyball and all of that. Now, it's not like a California beach where it's warm. It's a Seattle beach, but nonetheless, it is a beach. We got some sand here. And we're coming up close on the home of the late Maestro Kyle. So if you look at that top second floor, right here on the corner, and out right in the front of the house, you see a window. You see a 3-pane window that sticks out right there?
Yeah.
That is the window that me, Geoff Tate from Queensryche, Layne Staley from Alice in Chains, Ann Wilson from Heart, Chris Cornell, did I mention him? Many others, hundreds of other people would train. See, there's the old front door. See the old front door at the second level. And we go in, there's a piano over here, and we would stand in front of the piano and sing outside that window. And we'd sing out towards the bay. Show them the bay, Jonathan. We'll go ahead and park. Let's go ahead, Jonathan, let's walk around and take a look at that window. Now this window on the second floor that used to be at ground level, see the window to the left with the 3 panes extruding out?
Yeah.
That is the window that Layne Staley from Alice in Chains, Chris Cornell from Soundgarden, Audio Slave, Ann Wilson from Heart, Ronnie Monroe, Liza Minnelli, Geoff Tate from Queensryche, myself, and hundreds of other great singers used to train. We'd have a microphone in our hand and we would train and look outside that window, right? And we would sing out. It was a great way to train and take a voice lesson, I'll tell you. And we would sing out and face the water. It would be facing Puget Sound, which was very inspirational. Helps you with your projection. And Maestro Kyle used to say, we'd be singing and training, and he'd say, sing out to the bay. Sing out to the water. He'd say, get out to the bay, get your eyes out to the water, project out to the water, and we'd stand up in that window, and that's where it all happened. That's history, man. I mean, that is... Shoot that window. One more time, Jonathan. That window is... I don't want to sound corny, but it's history. I mean, all those people trained and sang through that window out to the bay. It's like hallowed ground. So there you go, folks. That's it. That's where it all started. And again, if you're interested in learning more about the vocal techniques that Maestro Kyle taught, or you'd actually like to work some of those workouts, just contact me. It's in the 4 Pillars of Singing. It's a big part of the training program that I offer singers. And I hope this was helpful for you guys. And Jonathan, I think you and I need to go get some dinner.
That's right.
Okay.